So after the win against Cardiff, Neil Warnock said this.
Well, I don't know. We lost 3-0, if I'm honest.
3-1.
3-1, sorry. It felt like 3-0.
Well, I do, Neil, and we all do, and it's because your rugby playing bully boy tactics didn't work against West Ham and we played football, which is really what this video is all about. I'm not here to put a boot into Neil Warnock, and it's probably harsh on Cardiff. They don't deserve it. West Ham have got history with Neil Warnock because of the Sheffield United days, but there's a bigger picture here, and it's the wonderful football that we are playing. If he honestly thinks that playing like that is going to yield results long term or against people that play it better, then he's very much mistaken. Maybe in his sort of world that they would have won the penalty, scored the penalty, and then shut it out for the whole time, but that was never going to happen. And which brings me on to what I wanted to talk about, which is the fun that Pellegrini has injected back into the team. Now, there have been so many times over the past few years when I've said, particularly doing to Gio when we've been doing videos and whatnot, and I've said to him I didn't enjoy going to that game. The best bit about the game was going and having a drink with my mates. We'd go there, and the worst part was actually the 90 minutes. Apart from that last season at Upton Park, it was pretty dire, turgid stuff, and it's because so many of the managers we've had would just shut up shop. The moment you get a goal, a couple of goals, look at Newcastle. The moment if we'd have gone 1-0 up against Newcastle, for instance, David Moyes would have battened down the hatches, Allardyce most certainly would have done, and then we would spend the rest of the time biting our nails because there would be wave after wave after wave of opposition attack upon us. And it's so nice to sit down and to watch some entertaining football where we attack, where we have the majority of the possession. Listen, Matt sent in a video and he'll be along in a second and he will give you the stats. He'll tell you, but we had lots of possession, we had lots of corners, we had lots of shots, and we deserved to win regardless of what Neil Warnock might think. We were absolutely brilliant. And I was watching Diop maraud forward. I was watching the fullbacks having licence to attack. I was watching the freedom afforded to the midfielders. And it cast me back a little bit to what I said recently about Joe Cole, who was a wonderful player at West Ham and really should have been much, much more than he actually went on to become. He will consider he's had a really decent career. He went and played in France. He obviously played for Chelsea, went and played in America, won league titles. But I will never forget the time where Joe Cole backheeled the ball in and then Jose Mourinho hauled him off. And he was just desperate to try and coach every little bit of flair out of him. And when I started thinking, when Diop went forward, I started thinking of Rio Ferdinand. Again, Rio Ferdinand will probably consider that he's had a very good career, and rightly so. He's had an excellent career, but the Rio Ferdinand that was, let's say, famous for his wonderful partnership at the back with Vidic was not the Rio Ferdinand that came through under Harry. That Rio Ferdinand, again, was allowed to maraud forward. It was all talk about us playing the sweeper system, about him having the skills of a midfield player, walking into midfield and being able to start to conduct the play, create that extra man. And unfortunately, he went to Leeds and he went to Man United, and whilst he had a very successful career, won Champions League, league titles, who could argue? He really should have been allowed to play and enhanced his skills. And I just think not only is it fun at the moment for West Ham, it's fun for the players. Masuaku said something today and said it's an awful lot of fun. I've heard Mark Noble say exactly the same thing, that playing for West Ham is a lot of fun at the moment. Because why wouldn't it be? He's giving them freedoms. He's saying to centre-backs, you know what, go forward. If you want to go forward, go forward. In terms of a sort of tactical plan surrounding it, he's saying to everybody else, you know what, if this guy goes forward, you go and fill in at the back. But we are not starting off each game from a position of fear. We're not worried about what the opposition can do to us. We're trying to make the opposition worried about what we can do to them. And this is really what it's been about for such a long time. I've gone on and on and on over the years about us handing the team sheet an hour before kickoff and the opposition manager reading it and saying, crikey, okay, he's done something different here. We need to accommodate this. Let's make the opposition change their team. And I just think we're starting to do that. We're starting to get a glimpse. Okay, it's only been 2 games, but we're starting to get a glimpse into Pellegrini's identity and what he's trying to achieve. And that thing that I said about going to the games and not enjoying the 90 minutes is just not true anymore. I cannot wait for the game against Crystal Palace. I think we'll have a go. We will pass the ball. We will attack. We'll have loads and loads of shots. Listen, we got trounced against Manchester City, didn't we? We really did, but we hit the post. We had some shots. We had a go. I remember against David Moyes, there was a game we had no shots. No shots. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that, you know, that such a thing should be even permitted by any manager. Your duty is to go out there and entertain. I don't know how many of you, I know there's a few that like boxing out there, but Barry Hearn, he's a great fan of West Ham, isn't he, Barry Hearn? But he was on the radio today saying it's not his job to make the boxing matches that everybody else wants to see. It's his job to make as much money as possible. Well, do you know what? There goes the romance. I'll tell you what, it's a bloody good job that Hagler, Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and all their promoters back in the day didn't think in such a way. Can you imagine if everybody thought like that? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Actually, your duty is to put on the boxing matches that people want to see. And because you're in the entertainment business, it's prize fighting. If it wasn't entertainment business, it would just be a bare-knuckle brawl in a car park with nobody watching. And it's the same with football. We want to be entertained, and he is just delivering a brand of football where I'm very, very interested to see where it's going. I would suggest he's obviously got 5 or 6 players that obviously he wants to play with and he wants to utilise, players that he has chosen for his system that fit his mould, if you like. I think he's probably looked at a few players that are already in the team and in the squad and thought he can utilise those. But I'll be very interested to see when he's added another 2 or 3, and I don't mean loans or makeshift or make weights, 3 more permanent signings, just to see, I think just to see his full philosophy and to see exactly where he's planning on going, because it's very, very exciting. We had a terribly unlucky draw to the start of the season. We've had to play a lot of tough teams and a lot of tough fixtures, and in many respects we've played teams at the wrong time. We played Newcastle recently at the wrong time. They were in a little bit of a run of form. Actually, even Cardiff, who we've just played, they had started to pick up some form. Granted, it had all been at home, but we played them off the park, and so we should. Alright, you might think that's no boast, is it? West Ham playing Cardiff off the park, but we're West Ham fans. How long has it been the case that actually we don't beat the teams that we're meant to beat? And now I have a feeling we will. I really do. We've already beaten Man United this season. Let me know what you think anyway in the comments below. Are you enjoying the football? Surely you must be. We've got 2 videos here. We've got one from Carl and we got one from Matt. And they're excited and they're looking forward to it. They're talking a little bit about the Cardiff game. They're looking forward to the Palace game. And they are absolutely looking forward to it. Enjoy the ride, I think.
Afternoon, everyone. Quick video on last night's performance and also a look ahead to the game against Palace. Obviously, 2-3-0 win. Well, 3-0 and 3-1. Obviously, very annoying that Cardiff got that last-minute goal last night. How do I feel we played last night? I think for the first half an hour, I think we were fantastic, you know. I think we held the ball well. Quick pass, you know, there was one chance, I think it was after about 15 minutes, Felipe Anderson, Snodgrass and someone else linking up. One-touch football, it's beautiful. It's football that we haven't seen West Ham play for a very, very long time. I feel we give away a silly penalty, obviously, and Fabianski made a fantastic save keeping hold of the ball. And then we fell asleep for the next sort of 15 minutes, and at half-time I was sat there and I was thinking, God, like, we cannot lose this game, surely. Like, we're, no disrespect to Cardiff, but we're on another level. And we come out the second half, obviously, and I was looking through Twitter at half-time and Perez was getting slated. And I said to my brother-in-law I was watching it with, I said, you know, I would have brought on Carroll, but obviously very pleased he brought on Perez. He took his 2 goals very well, especially the second one, you know, a bit like Anderson's goal against Newcastle on Saturday, put it through the keeper's legs. I think also a special mention last night to Ogbonna and Antonio. You know, Ogbonna played very well last year. Hasn't quite fit into a back 4, obviously, with Diop and Balbuena doing so well, but I think last night he was fantastic, done everything he was supposed to do, and Antonio as well, you know, he kept spotting him every time Cardiff come forward. He weren't even in our half, then all of a sudden, bang, he was just there, and Hoylett, who's obviously a very quick player, he had him in his back pocket, and I'd stick with him up against Zaha on Saturday, to be honest with you, unless Zaha obviously plays in the middle, then I'd maybe look at Zabaleta. Felipe Anderson again last night, fantastic. Dejan Garner, when he come on, looked good. You know, hold your breath every time he gets on the ball. Anyone else really, I think, worth mentioning? I think Masuaku, he's low on confidence, you can see that, but I think he done what he needed to do last night. So yeah, great team performance. No one really that I'd say didn't perform or get them out the side type thing. Saturday, Crystal Palace, bit of a rivalry. You know, our fans and their fans don't really get along very well. Do I think we'll win? I don't really want to answer that question. I think we will, but every time I've said we're going to win, we've lost or we've drew. I think if we play like we have been, I think I wouldn't change how we finished last night. You know, I'd go with obviously Fabianski, Antonio, Diop, Ogbonna. Unless Balbuena's fit, I'd stick him in there with Diop because they're settled. Masuaku, and then I'd have the same midfield as we did last night. I think Snodgrass has been absolutely fantastic. He was my man of the match last night. And then I would also probably stick with Perez and Chicharito. But, you know, Carroll, I've got a feeling Carroll will start on Saturday. I think we'll win. They're not in the best of form. Obviously, they've just been battered 3-0 by 10 men Brighton. Do I think we'll win to Saturday? Yeah, I think we'll get the result. I think we'll win 2-1. I think we'll go down behind early, and I think we'll turn it round. Obviously, the attacking football we're playing is fantastic, and it's exciting to see. And also, finally, it's good to see the squad performing and having their trust in the way the manager wants to play. You know, knocking the ball around quickly, 1-2s down the pitch. So, fantastic. That's all for the video today. Hopefully, a win on Saturday and 3 wins in 3. Come on, you Irons.
So 61% possession last night from West Ham, which was fantastic, in a game where they had 17 shots, 11 of those were on target, 10 corners versus 4 for Cardiff. So an impressive game for West Ham. It was a difficult first half where the possession just didn't equate to goals, and there was that worry that Cardiff might grab a goal when they took that penalty, but a save from Fabianski, and I think that was a well-deserved. Second half, we really stepped it up. We played the ball into space, we played the ball to feet, we were man-marking, and it was great to see Perez get a brace. And also Antonio, that would have done his confidence the world of good, playing in a very unfamiliar position. So 3 goals to the good. So that's 6 goals in 2 games for West Ham. Of course, with West Ham, there's always a negative. Arnautovic went off injured. I hear today that it's likely he will be out now until the new year. However, it gives Carroll, Hernandez and also Perez an opportunity to step up and see what they can do. We do look very, very good going forward now. Defensively, with Masuaku and Antonio, I thought that might be a weakness, and clearly Ogbonna came in, but the defence did pretty well against Cardiff last night. Speaking about Crystal Palace for Saturday, I know quite a few Palace fans. They're not particularly optimistic about Palace coming away with the result. Clearly, the key man there is Zaha, who always gives us causes problems, gives us a good game. But for once, I'm pretty positive for West Ham, and I really feel that we can get a result against them with 3 points off the top 10. So we won't be getting nosebleeds quite yet, but we're around the position that I thought West Ham would be, given the expenditure Pellegrini's made. So come on, you Irons, and I'm going for a 2-0 West Ham win against Palace.